It's a wet and grey Sunday, so I'm going to be dicking around with my vlogging setup. This is like my current setup. It's Rode Video Micro on its little shock mount. Got a little thingy here, little sort of crossbar, so I can have the camera and this on there. They're both on 1/4" threaded mounts for anyone that cares. Here you've got the GoPro audio adapter thingy, goes into the side of the GoPro, and that's the only way to get external audio into your GoPro 7 and 6 and 5. The reason it's set up on this complicated system of things here is so that I can set the microphone a little further back, keep it out of shot, because there's quite a wide angle of view, so you can easily just get like the fluff just in the corner of the shot. So that gets rid of that. Good sound from the microphone, no problems with that. It isn't working so well in ensemble videos where there's a lot of people, because it only picks up what's going on in front. So if I'm pointing this at someone and I'm talking, I can barely be heard.
Transferring the...
We can play Jenga later.
I know.
Same as if I'm talking and I'm talking to someone, they can barely be heard.
Are you doing that one?
Alright.
No.
Before, I've used just the GoPro with a fuzzy foam cover on it.
My spiritual home.
Are you trying to find where your dinner went?
Cut out the wind, works fairly well. What I find is that the stereo on the GoPro is very wide, so I tend to reduce the stereo width to mono, because when you're turning it around like that, you just hear voices spinning around your head, which is unpleasant. If you're wearing headphones, it's really unpleasant to listen to. The internal audio of the GoPro has a lot of subsonic nonsense going on in there, really low frequencies, which can mean when you're editing you've got to crossfade, otherwise you get nasty clicks, because you're never going to be cutting on a zero crossover point, so you end up with a loud click. It's the quest for the perfect vlogging sound setup. The picture I think I've got sorted. The last video that I did with us at Camp Turkey, that's probably the best looking footage I've got out of the GoPro, using the ND filter, setting the exposure to the sky. It does mean sometimes that everything else is underexposed, but if you get the sky right, then your footage is going to look brilliant. It might be that the blacks and the darks and the shadows look a bit shit, but everyone's looking at the sky. The settings that I had for the audio when I was recording Camp Turkey, I set it to standard plus, because this is not a self-powered mic. Doing a test recording in the back of a van versus a test recording when there's a whole bunch of us out and we're all talking loud and the wind is blowing and everything, you end up with such a hot signal that the sound cuts out. Like with motorbikes or something, it takes a second or so for the audio to actually find its level, and so you end up with about a second of missed audio, which is not good at all. Or you get crackles and pops.
Let's all hug. Let's all hug. Hey.
It's not ideal, so probably set it to standard if you've got one of these, and if you're going out and about. If you're only talking quietly, timidly, this is fine. The ND filter, I've got these in a set. Oops. So they just click onto the front. This is an ND8. I've also got an ND32 and an ND16, and they live in this little pouch. Nice and handy. And they just pop on. Each one of them's got its own sort of plastic lens cap and way of snapping onto the front of the GoPro. You can stack them because they're threaded, so you can stack like all of you can put all your ND filters on and make it as dark as night. The reason why you'd want to do that is so that you can do a night lapse during the day. so you can do a time lapse with longer exposure settings. Whoops, I got a spark. And I take it out, I maybe use it, maybe I don't, but when I do use it, I don't always use the footage in the videos. I don't know what to do with it. I'm not a good pilot, and the automatic modes either work or don't work. Shooting another video for Cat Zero, we were welcoming the Chick family. I'll talk about more about the Chick family there. They are going around the UK for a tenner a day. We invited them over to Cat Zero because they're doing some fundraising, and they're hoping to raise some money for us as well. I mean, their oldest daughter was being winched up to the top of the mast, and I nearly flew the drone into her.
Drone's trying to attack the climber.
My style of video is all very much this is what I'm looking at, this is me, this is what I'm looking at, this is me, these are my hands doing stuff, this is me, this is what I'm looking at, this is me. It's kind of how I work. When I use the drone, suddenly it's in the sky, and I don't know quite how to get that drone footage to fit in with the style of video which I think I've come to be known for, my style of vlogging. So I persevere with the drone. I did a shot of me walking around when we went to Magpie Mine, and that looked good too. Had me walking around. I don't like the lack of sound, because suddenly you can see me there with a remote control and camera and wires hanging off of me, and the illusion is gone. Breaks the illusion. The trials and tribulations of being a YouTuber. Yeah, all this stuff goes on behind the scenes.